Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Katawa Shoujo, you fucking inbreds, where we fulfill the visual novel experience that you've been lusting after for so long. So we're gonna continue from where we left off last time, and hopefully get through some very relevant plot devices. Let's go ahead and load back into our save here. Small talk. Again, no one seems to notice, or if they do, no one says anything. I want to ask Misha about it, but I don't want to be nosy. After school, Shizune and Misha quickly find me by the first floor lobby and latch onto me, covering each flank in case I might try to escape. I feel a little offended, but I'd been considering it. Nevertheless, I'm a bit disturbed that enough people have made a break for it in the past that they're on their guard. What's with the escort? This doesn't make me feel very comfortable. In fact, it makes me feel like a dangerous prisoner being transported to his cell. Wah! What's wrong, Hee-chan? Ellipse! That's right! We're just going to go play a game of Risk, remember? I don't know. Misha, this all seems a little sinister to me. I start thinking that when we sit down to play the game, they'll tie me down and torture me until I agree to join the student council. S&M. Well, that's highly unlikely, but still, for some reason, it just seems like it would be so plausible. Getting to the student council room is as simple as turning 2 corners from where we started. Ooh, listen to that background music. What? That's it? This makes you guys being so on top of me seem a little silly. Ellipse! That's not true, Hee-chan. Hee-chan says that when their life is threatened, people have shown the capability to pull off superhuman bursts of speed. Gotta go fast. Yeah, fucking Sonic theme. Life is threatened? Her expression unchanging, Misha signs something amusedly to Shizune, who makes a baffling face and puts her hands behind her back, looking pleased with herself. Misha feigns deafness and hums cheerily. Stop that. I know you heard me. You have no excuse, unlike Shizune. Shizune opens the door to the student council room. It's very plain. Sparsely decorated room, although it's quite large. Maybe even a little larger than a classroom. So, like, they said there's not many people in the student council, and they've got, like, the biggest fucking room. Like, obviously, president desk, right? This is, like, Senate, House of Representatives, shitlords, Congress, you know, all the politicians. There's a big table in the center surrounded by chairs, and a smaller desk prominently placed in the back that I assume is Shizune's. There are a few regular desks and chairs stacked to one side as well. Extras, perhaps. Aside from the tables and the chairs, the room doesn't have much else to offer. Just a couple of filing cabinets and bookshelves stacked with older school records and documents. Not much else, in fact. Nothing else. This is a pretty bleak room. They could at least put a potted plant in here, or something. But the most notable thing that this room doesn't have is other people. Are we early? Ellipse! No! What do you mean, no? Does it mean nobody else is coming today? Ellipse! Yeah, that's right! Before I manage to ask why that's the case, Shizune claps her hands together very energetically. Ellipse! Hee-chan, let's play Risk. Come on, you promised, didn't you? You have to! Ah! Okay. Do you want to know the rules? We can explain it to you while we set everything up. I'm fucking dying. My throat, guys. I'm gonna get, like, the throat cancer without even, like, smoking. Wait a sec, gotta take a drink. While Misha is talking, Shizune takes out what looks like a board game from behind one of the filing cabinets and throws it on the table. Actually, this looks kind of interesting. After Misha spends a little too long for her liking running through the basics with a somewhat vague and confusing tutorial, Shizune cuts in and declares that the game has started with a decisive motion, slicing her arm through the air. Shizune's aggressiveness is running off onto me. I start feeling more competitive than I intended to be when I agreed to this. Risk intensifies! Halfway into the game, while I try to ponder how to defend against Shizune's assault from two fronts, she breaks my concentration by drumming her finger on the table to get my attention. Dude, you're about to get Hitlered. Ellipse! He-chan, She-chan wants you to know that you are taking too long to make a move. She-chan also says that she would let you keep Australia if you agree to join the student council. I thought this was a game with no strings attached. Just the fact that she would dangle that over my head as an offer means that she knows I care about the outcome of this game. And anyway, no. Ellipse! She-chan admires your fighting spirit and would be a benevolent dictator who will spare your people if you agree to join the student council. Ha! You're so competitive, Shizune. She seems to take this as a compliment. I would expect the student council president to be a little bit more magnanimous. Magnanimous. She doesn't seem to know what the word means or how it's signed, so she pulls out a piece of paper and writes it for Shizune, who in turn signs it back to Misha. Misha presses her index fingers against her temples, as if trying to physically imprint the word into her memory. Ellipse! Suddenly, Shizune bursts into a flurry of gestures. Misha looks daunted by the pace of her heated signing. Can you imagine being in the room with these people? It's just like, if you've ever seen the Jeff Dunny skit where he's got Peanut and he's talking about the signing when they brought a bunch of deaf people to see the ventriloquist. There's a guy at the front of the audience who is signing. And then he's, so he fucks with him and he just starts saying a bunch of random shit and then goes to the poor fools, just signing away! Just imagine they're like flicking their hands all over the place and like making all these signs and shit. It's like, it's gotta be crazy, right? Oh, wait! Please slow down, Chi-chan. He-chan, She-chan says you're going to lose. Faggot. Tell her I will crush her world empire with my rebellion. Okay. Those eyes of hers shine with childlike mischief. Ellipse! She says you have no chance if you keep playing like this. No, you won't. It's a trap. It's smarter to play defensively here. She has a point. Attack aggressively. Dude, motherfucker, advance on her physically. Like a fucking Vietnamese jungle. She's either really mocking me or trying to trick me. I have nothing else to lose though, so I might as well try something different. Maybe if I spread out my forces and try to control more territories, I can recoup the advantage. Shizune seems to focus on conquering whole nations, so maybe I can sacrifice my hold on continents to gain more small countries. It's worth a shot. A few turns later, I end up losing the game anyway. Shizune adjusts her glasses victoriously and allows herself to tentatively pump a fist in the air in celebration. To tentatively pump a fist! Ellipse! I win! I win! Yay! There's no need to translate that, it was pretty clear. Wah! Don't look so sad, He-chan! You were really giving it your best, that's what I thought. Ah, thanks for the compliment, you fucking bitch. Sometimes your best just isn't good enough, though. If anyone knows that, it's me. You did very well for someone who just learned how to play today. Ellipse! He-chan, you attacked Iceland and North America at the same time. That's a very daring move. She-chan is impressed. So that sentence, I'm trying to figure out if it was Blue Hair fucking saying it. Because if she did, she referred to herself in the third person like a fucking Khajiit from Skyrim with that, like, with that dialogue type of, expression. Or if it was the pink-haired girl. I'm gonna assume it's pink-haired girl, because I don't think she'd fucking talk like a Khajiit. But, Ellipse! The mark of great people is that they are daring, and that they can follow through. You're already halfway there. Isn't that great, Hee-chan?
I'm already halfway there!
Ellipse! That isn't enough, though. Just potential isn't enough. There is no point to potential if you don't take the first step. And there is no point to that if you don't keep going. I want to see more. You dick. You're right, Shi-chan, but that's so demanding. Ellipse! Ellipse! Shizune leans forward, suddenly looking a lot less playful and more like the serious person I expected her to be from the start. Fuck. When the music cuts out, you know the shit goes down. Ellipse! Hee-chan, would you like to join the student council? She really doesn't waste any time, does she? But it's only my second day of school, so I'm hesitant about committing to something so early. I haven't even taken a look at any other clubs yet. But spending time with Shizune and Misha doesn't seem like something I would hate. I still need more time to think about it before I decide for sure. Maybe. I'll get back to you on it. Ellipse! Okay, Hee-chan, but I hope you're not just saying that so we don't feel bad. No, really. Really? Hee-chan, if you're going to say that, you're saying that it's definitely the truth, and there can't be any mistaking it! I know. I guess I should have my revenge for losing at the very least. The fuck is that face? Shizune smiles at that in a mischievous way that feels like twisting the knife in the wound of my loss. I take a glance at the clock on the wall and realize I've spent far longer playing Risk than I expected. Sorry, I think I have to go. I wanted to go to the library. It's not closed yet, is it? Shizune scratches her head and gestures at Misha. How hard can it be to determine whether the library is open? There's a clock right there on the wall. Ellipse! It should be, unless the librarian is absent. I think you're right, Shi-chan. We think the library is open. It's on the second floor. Can't miss it. Do you want us to show you where it is? No thanks. It's okay. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye! My fucking throat. Oh, dude, new picture. This one isn't as bad. The other picture's pretty fucking terrible. One flight of stairs up, and I run into problems. What problems could those be? The second floor hallway is a carbon copy of the third floor one. Wide, of course, and plain, like only hallways can be. The problem is that the library's whereabouts are not as easily determined as one would think. The classrooms are marked with signs stating which class they belong to, but then there is a plethora of other unmarked rooms. Is the library one of them, or is it just somewhere down the hallway? I bet on the latter, and choose my direction at random. After I turn around the corner, an unmarked door draws my attention because it's not closed. It's not open either, though. Just barely ajar so that I can see it's open and nothing else. It would make sense for the library door to be invitingly open, while this one is not quite that. It's good enough. At the very least, it means that someone is inside and I can ask for directions, no matter how embarrassing that is. I gingerly push on the center of the door with my fingertips, every muscle in my arm ready to pull back at a moment's notice. This motherfucker is, he is ready, dude. He is completely aware. I might open this door and there may be a girl changing, because this is anime. And he's ready. He's fucking ready. He's got that, like, piston action in his arm, ready to pull back and fucking say, what's the word? I can't remember, please. Or sorry. Oh well. The feeling of being an outsider to this school can't be shaken from my mind, so much so that I instinctively fear doing something wrong by entering. The door slowly creaks as if groaning from a deep sleep, though it's much easier to open than I had anticipated. Oh, here we go. Leaning over and poking my head ever further inside to gain sight of the room as fast as possible, the meek hello on my lips is quickly snatched away. This is not as I was expecting. I mindlessly let the door open to its full extent, taking in the sight of the solitary figure taking center stage in an otherwise abandoned room. The situation steals my voice, leaving me standing at the doorway staring at the beautiful girl. Evidently having taken her time to assess the situation, the girl gently puts down her teacup and opens her eyes, but doesn't look at me. Hello there. May I oh, fuck. Damn it. I gotta do a new voice. Alright, this one's gonna hurt your ears. Hello, may I help you? Staring directly in front of herself, the movements of her lips seem to break the silence rather than the words. However, it's the soft, measured voice that reminds me that she's being separate from the room itself. Not only is she likely the tallest girl I've ever laid eyes on, but even among the foreigners I've met, she's strikingly distinct. Hi. Sorry for intruding. I was just kind of lost. She takes a moment to formulate a response before speaking. Every action she takes feels as if it's carefully choreographed beforehand. Care to take a seat? Unexpected, considering that I'm intruding upon her. Thanks. I slowly step towards another seat opposite her, with the girl resting the teacup and saucer on the wooden table in between. The way she doesn't track my movements with her head is telling. That, and the slight cloudiness to her eyes, means she must be at least partially blind, like Kenji. Motherfucker, she's completely blind. But, that's not what blind eyes look like, is it? I think so. Come to think of it, her voice doesn't have any detachable accent either. I guess she must be half Japanese. As I take my seat, her composure takes me slightly off guard. Her air of relaxed confidence makes the silence entirely comfortable. The calming atmosphere is so very different from the student council office. I take it you're a new student to Yakumakado Academy? Yeah, I just transferred in yesterday. I get the distinct feeling my speech patterns don't match the formality of hers, accentuated by her restrained bow of greeting, one which I hasten to match before realizing the futility of the action. I'm Lisato, pleased to meet you. Hisao Nakai. She gives a nod before gesturing roughly in the direction of her teacup. Would you care for a drink? Sure. As much as it pains me, I can't keep step with her formality in the proceedings. She gives a kind nod, taking the request in stride. Without another word, she steps off the chair and prepares a second cup of tea from a collection of supplies laid out along a shelf. A brush here, a brush there, the left hand often lightly touching the side of whichever container she's pouring into. It seems to be a process she's followed dozens of times before, because she's fucking blind. As I lean sideways to her see around her bag, she seems to use her long, dainty finger to measure the right amount of water in the cup. It's one thing to see the different disabilities the students in my class have, but it's quite another to see how everyone seems to adapt. Shizune and Misha have no problem working together to communicate to me, and Lily herself seems to have workarounds for problems I'd never thought of. While I feel slightly guilty about her doing the work, she seems pleased to be following the correct process of the offerer preparing the drink. So, her soft voice brings me out of my silent observance. Which room were you looking for? It's not often this classroom is visited after school. The school library. Shizune and Misha, some classmates told me it was on this floor. She finishes pouring water into the teacup as she nods, a small metallic tapping coming from the teacup indicating it being stirred. I'm aware of Miss Hakamichi, as are most students. To me, that means you're in class 3-3, no? That's right, in the science room with Muto. She gives a small giggle before setting down the teaspoon and slowly walking towards the table, teacup and saucer in hand. He's quite the character. I imagine you'll come to like him most do. As she sets down the tea, I gently take it and have a sip. I'm really more of a coffee person. It's a fucking drug, dude. Stop it. Stop now. But this seems like a rather bad moment to bring it up. Nonetheless, the smell's quite nice. I hardly think it'd be hard to choke down. Thanks, Seto. It tastes really nice. She smiles and quickly waves her hand in front of her face. Lily, please, there's no need to be too formal! Even though she's ridiculously formal. She says this in spite of her exceedingly well-bred speech. Oh well. I guess I should try and ask her about herself, as it really does seem as if she's catering to me. So which class are you from? I imagine it's one of the third-year classes.
Correct! I'm in class 3 too, which is on the 3rd floor, same as yours. It's taught by Miyagi, and it's specifically for both blind and partially blind students.
I see. Fucking Christ. He says, I see. Sorry. I feel like slapping myself for the fox paws looking at her face, though she doesn't seem the least bit put off by it.
My mother has no need to change your speech on my account.
Sure. Sorry. I guess I'm really showing my newness here.
An environment like this will be a big change, so I can't fault you for it. Well, the same can't be said for everyone. Many have come to terms with their conditions.
A category which would include her, it seems, all too ready to jump ship from this particular topic I segue into another. Segue, I guess. Do you come here to drink tea often? It's a really nice place. Thinking on it, this might be her version of the place behind my school that I'd like to have lunch at.
I come here fairly often during lunch times. My duties as class representative don't leave enough time for an official club, so often I use this room for having tea.
Class representative, huh? Compared to Shizune, her mannerisms seem to be almost completely opposite. While Shizune is blunt and fiercely driven, Lily seems relaxed and calm, almost aloof. Come to think of it, she might be useful for a less biased view of the school's clubs. What kind of clubs are there to join?
The more popular ones are the track and field club, which uses the field near the school during lunch times. The baseball club and the book club in the room near the library. There are also numerous small ones too, such as the art and music clubs.
At a time when I'm just wanting to get on my feet, rushing into a club right away seems slightly unappealing. I wonder if this school shares the same rule as my old one. Is it compulsory to join a club?
It isn't, though it is encouraged.
Good.
That's a relief.
I've really let down my guard around this girl to let such a thing slip out. The fact seems to slightly amuse her. Not wanting my tea to get cold, I finally start drinking it, as Lily does the same. Jesus, dude! As I look over the window over her shoulder, I notice the light coming into the room has distinctly orange tint. Even here, time doesn't stand still. The time's gone quickly.
Sorry?
Right, she's blind. Of course she can't see the sun setting. It just looks like the sun's starting to set. It seems to come as a surprise for her. I guess she must have lost track of the time.
Sorry, son. I didn't mean to keep you from the library for so long.
I quickly moved to allay her concern. No, it's okay. The library's still open, isn't it? She pauses and takes a moment to think on it. It's probably something I should have asked Shizune when I had the chance, but Lily seems likely to know in any case.
True. It's open until 6:30 during weekdays.
A quick glance at my watch confirms I still have well enough time to get there. I might get going in that case. It's been nice talking with you, Lily. Got a blast! She smiles and gives a deep nod, her hands still neatly folded on the table in front of her.
It was my pleasure. Oh, come to think of it, shall I show you where the library is?
I couldn't possibly ask for more help. I should be able to find it all right. Well, unless my navigational skills fail me, which they've done over and over again, sir. Which they seem to have a habit of doing.
It's alright, I was going to be talking to the library there. In any case, I could introduce you.
This gets better and better. It's pretty hard to deny her offer. If you're sure, then that'd be great, thanks. As she stands up to follow me, she takes hold of a straight, retractable cane that had been slipped in the handle of her bag on the floor. Compared to the cane the boy in my class had, Lily's looks much thinner and longer. His must be for support, whereas Lily's is for navigation. Together we leave the peaceful room and enter the empty hallway on the way to the library. Side by side, my pace carefully slowed to match her as we walk through the hallway. It doesn't take long for us to arrive at the door to the warm-looking room, apparently situated in the center of the floor rather than either wing. Ladies first. She gives an appreciative smile at the gesture, taking the lead as we file in. To the left is the wooden library counter, and the library proper being on the right. It easily dwarfs my old school's library, with the distinct smell of old books giving the place an almost old-world air. There doesn't seem to be a lot of students here considering the time. It isn't a big surprise. Everyone's probably either in the school grounds or the dorms.
Yuka, are you here?
She says it to thin air since the librarian doesn't seem to be present. Of course, Silly can't see this. What's unexpected is that it draws a reaction. Something from under the counter thuds against it, followed by a quiet wail.
Aww.
Fucking shit! Origin, apparently the librarian, quickly crawls out and bounces up to extremely rigid attention. Alright, I'm going to assume that she's not a very major character, and she won't show up, so I don't know if I'm going to I won't give her like an over-the-top voice.
Hi, Lily, how can I help you?
Her voice is strained in a failing attempt to sound casual, and she's rubbing the back of her head.
Good afternoon! What happened just now? I heard a strange sound.
Fuck.
It's nothing. I just hit my head. See, I dropped an eraser under my desk, and while I was looking for a pencil dropped, and when I was looking for both of them, you came and surprised me. Are you alright? I'm sorry I couldn't know.
It's okay. Sorry for making you worry. This is nothing. I've had worse happen to me. Yeah, like when my husband beat me. She's quick to reverse Lily's apologies, almost frantically trying to push aside the possibility that she could be in any way inconvenienced by bashing her head on the counter. Yes, worse things have happened. The girl fidgets with her fingers as Lily doesn't seem to drop her concerned expression, and then she shuffles some papers around the counter for no reason. A little shorter than Lily, replete with glasses, freckles, and a very troubled look, she seems to fit a library perfectly. Ah, Lily, did you get my message?
Message? Oh, 2 important books that arrived!
Right, they finally came. I can't believe it took so long, but... I missed her celebrations, partially for managing to change the topic, I'm sure. She notices me from the corner of her eye and freezes on the spot when she does.
I'm sorry for not noticing you before. Did you need to check out a book or return one? I'm sorry.
The way she can quickly shift between moods is a little unsettling.
It's with me, Yuka. This is Hassan, new student. Hassan, this is Yuka's classmate.
Pleased to meet you. Hassan, right, Hassan. Pleased to meet you too, Hassan. For a second, she visibly attempts to engrave the name on her mind so she won't forget.
Yuka often arranges to import foreign books in Braille for me. Would you like to tell us something about the library?
Lily's innocent suggestion is met with an expression of abject terror. Please, Lily, I can't. I don't know what he could be interested in. This is too much responsibility. How it's any responsibility at all, I don't get, but her objection is so sincere I don't doubt for a second that she would rather disembowel herself on the spot than tell me where the light novels are. Fucking faggot reading light novels? Who reads those? Reading fucking Spice and Wolf and Sword Art Online. Devil's a part-timer. Yeah.
But...
So there are a lot of books in Braille here? I attempt to save the day by asking the first thing that pops into my head. It seems to work at least partially, as Yuko seems to not exactly relax, but at least look slightly less tense.
Well, I think about a third or a fourth of Yamaha could do his libraries either in Braille or audio.
Makes sense, given all the blind students would be here. If it's only that, how come this library is so big in the first place? Bum bum bum.
Well, we get a lot of new books regularly because the library is adequately endowed. That's probably why. They spend more money on new books than on my salary, and then I have to organize and shelve all of them. It's so troublesome. They weigh so much. I wish I could quit this job.
Ellipse. Very awkward silence follows this revelation of too much information. I'll go check the aisles then, if you don't mind. Just backing away slowly, like... It's probably best for all of us if she doesn't keep talking to me.
Very well, meanwhile, you go out have those books and it's alright with you.
Oh, thank God we get to skip through the library scene. And first impression was right. The library is surprisingly big. Ambling down the narrow aisles, I study the spines of the books in random order, occasionally slanting one out to read the blurb, taking it with me if it looks good. In a few moments, I have a respectable stack of books in my arms. I guess I'll never be stuck for choice in here. The normality of the library sinks in. Sure, there are large braille books scattered throughout, but it is what it is. A library. It's as if the calm mood from the room I had tea with Lillian snuck with us in here. Unless it was here to begin with. Something about that puts me at ease, just like before. I reach the end of the aisle and find a collection of desks set up for study or personal reading. Going a little further, I discover a nice quiet corner at the back. While the rest of the library has the odd student sitting at a desk, either reading or stealthily sleeping, the back is pretty much deserted. As I glance around, I see someone who I recognize sitting on one of several beanbags. It's the dark-haired girl from my class, the one who snuck out of the classroom earlier. She's reading a book, keeping it close to her face, which makes her look like she's really into it. So fucking close to her face! Oh my god, it's like fucking 2 feet! From the way she's acting today, I had pegged her as more of a delinquent than a bookworm. In fact, her mysterious disappearance from the class raises all sorts of whys in my head. Intrigue floats slowly but surely towards the surface, and before I know it, I'm walking toward the mysterious long-haired girl. I guess there's no harm in introducing myself as I would with anyone else. She's a classmate, after all. Alright, guys. We're gonna stop it there. So next episode, we're gonna talk to this crazy bitch and see what's going on.
What book is she reading? What book is that? What could it be? Maybe some George R. Martin? Some Stephen King? Maybe a little, Kurt Vonnegut? Dr. Seuss? No? Maybe a little Dean Koontz? Cornelia Funk? No? Maybe a little, T.S. Eliot? Maybe a just a tiny little bit of Harriet Beecher Stowe, maybe, Uncle Tom's Cabin. Alright guys, I'll catch you later.